There we are. All right, let's get this underway. I'll see you in a little while, and I'll speak to you soon. Oh, I've got the shivers. There we go. I'll just make sure that's turned off. There we are. Right.
Well, you got the tissue box behind you if you need it. Just saying.
You see, it is there. There it is. Yeah. I don't know what to turn around for, but there it is. There, you never know. May disappear again. All right.
Or glow like last time.
glow in the dark tissue box. Yeah. Oh. As you walk through the avenues of your life, there are many opportunities that avail themselves for you to see the clarity of existence. Virtually all, of course, are not seen by the average person. And yet for one that is enlightened, that knows the truth, they cannot turn their head without seeing this potentiality. So you have two people, one that knows nothing and one that sees everything. The one that sees nothing will be blind to life in a figurative way, be blind to the very existence of the truth, the knowledge, the love that it is within its birthright to inherit. Yet the realized know that all this is in abundance. This inheritance is not for one, but for all. And those that are realized often offer themselves of service to others, so that they too may avail themselves of this truth. Now, the unrealized walk through life and with every action derived, of course, from thought and from, well, let us call it deeper issues. With every action, they create the karma to ensure that there is a following action and reaction. And their life continues and re-continues, lifetime after lifetime. They leave footprints, if you wish, of pathways trodden that they must go back and tidy up. But the realized leave no karma. If you would use the same analogy, their footprints are like the impressions on water. It leaves no mark. So hence there is nothing to return to. No subsequent life unless it is chosen. They do not return to the earth, but rather become one with everyone that is on the earth. There is an immense amount of difference. Yet the difference is no thicker than a blade of grass, a sheet of paper, a paper bag. And you would say to me, let me cross that veil. Let me step into the realization, the understanding, the truth of my spiritual form. I have mentioned many times that there are those which are mediumistic, yet know nothing about the truth of spirit. There are those within monasteries which have not touched the very edge of the garment of spirit. And yet there are the layman and women those which surrender to life, that wear in full the garment of spirit, wrapped around them like a cloth, from their inside to their outside. Mind, body, soul, spirit, whatever you call it, is one. And then there is no path to be trod. You arrive at this by going nowhere. But we will talk a little deeper and a little bit more fluently about this in a moment. But I believe today we have a healing bliss that we will work for. Now, I say those words deliberately, we would work for. They'll become relevant in the talk a little later, but also the understanding. It is often thought that you work for us, the physical supports the spiritual. And in very low levels, that may be near to the truth. But once you seek the clarity, it is spirit that is of service to the physical. Otherwise, why would we be here? So let us work together for this list of people. Brandon, I believe you have a whole bunch of names.
Indeed, I do. Let's start with Loretta Caputo, Donna and Leroy Henke, Mary Hinkle, Allison in Spirit, Joanne Stobart, Sam Popov, Betty Mason, Teresa, Chris and Howard Wielden, Maxine and Mike, Guide and Helen Bevaliqua, Charlotte Burridge, Eloise, Felicity and Aura, Paya, Sonia, Ayla, Mark Garrett, Adrian and Heather Groves, James and Kieran Wood, Jenny Garrett, Ralph, Don, Bridget's mom, Christine, Scott, Mary, Chantel, Josh and Megan French, Neil and Raylene Parsons, Jennifer and Luke Doherty, Oshi, Lockie, Sammy, Wesley, Orlando, Sienna, Robert Schmidt, and the Queen. Thank you.
This series of talks has been given a title, initially for convenience, and that was Discovery. Quite an apt title as we go deeper into the talk. box. Last week, we undertook an exercise, and in a moment we'll introduce you to another, which you may find a little bit more difficult. The exercise last week was to show you the clarity of mind that does exist within you all, where you think you cannot control your mind, yet underneath it all is this body of peace, body of silence, of stillness. And the suggestion at the end of the exercise was, you cannot calm your mind because you're in love with your mind. Be in love with your stillness. And then the thoughts will calm by themselves. A question was asked: how can I see in my physical world the truth of my being? And this exercise points to that. Again, it is one with immense depth, very superficial when you first try it, but very revealing of the truth if you truly understand and fall into the exercise. When I say fall in, I mean surrender. Initially, it's going to involve a little bit of visualization. And I know Terry likes oranges, so we will use oranges as our example. I can see her smiling now. So if you'd like to join me, maybe for these 30 seconds or so, sit, be still, and gently close your eyes as I describe this scene. Now, the thoughts that you have and the things you must do, let us leave those behind. You can pick them up at the end. So sit and come into a void. Now, a void is nothingness. And imagine in front of you is an orange, or two or three. Now place your full attention onto this imaginary orange. See it, look at the texture, look at the regularity. You may get a smell or even a little taste in your mouth. See that orange fully. Have nothing in your mind but the orange. And now I take the orange away. What is left? And when you are ready, open your eyes and return to where you are sitting. Now, of course, we could use anything other than an orange. For those of you which manage some stillness of your mind, the orange, of course, became very real. But when we took it away, all that remained was a still awareness, a watching, but nothing to see. True depth would mean no body, no mind, just the awareness. That is who you are. It is as simple as that. That awareness is full of potential. With depth, the love arises. With more depth, the knowledge or wisdom. With further depth, the spirit and the unified state. Where can you go where you do not have awareness? Now, in my initial opening, I said, you arrive by going nowhere. Perhaps you can see the connection between the two, the example, the exercise, and this brief sentence. You arrive by going nowhere. For those of you practicing meditation, and I mean meditation for self-understanding, it is when you cease to control the situation that meditation happens in an instant. So to bring it back or to relate it to the exercise, stop trying to control or manipulate or even judge the orange circle. It is not the experience of orange that you are after, rather than who is it that's looking at the orange? Now that is a question with 1,000 answers and 1,000 different depths. Who is it that is looking? Who am I? What am I? The journey that must be taken. What is happening? Well, if you achieve that state of mind, there was no awareness of body, was there? No awareness of I am male, I am female, I am rich, I am poor. There is just awareness. And if you come back to that awareness, and when you first wake up in the morning, for the first second or fraction of a second, you do not know who you are. And then the reconnection of your life happens in that instant. But just prior, there is the truth. before the illusion. So what is the point of this? Well, the point is wrapped up with that stepping across the veil to leave no footprint, to leave no karma, to touch spirit, to be spirit, to reveal spirit. Now you all can do that. It is not something that needs to be acquired, rather revealed. Now many people, and many of those which go to see, let us say, their teacher, would say, who am I? Show me this. How can I understand this? And untrue teachers of this topic, at least, cannot give you an exercise to take you to your truth. It may give you something on the surface. Well, sit in meditation, you'll find out. Yet we have done it in an instant. What does this tell us? If you want to find spirit, your spiritual self, don't chase the experience. Fall inwards, not go outwards. So there are many which follow a path of trying to understand and trying to go places, learn skills, develop this or that, or look for these expressions in different phenomena around them. Say, look, there is spirit there on my shoulder or in that apple. At best, it is just a glimpse. Of course, with certain phenomena, it can be a little bit of a longer glimpse. But even so, if the shadow of a deceased form stood in front of you, it is still an experience of spirit and not your spirit. After all, God and I are one. No true word was spoken. And I said before in a talk, it is not egotistical to say, I am God. It is egotistical to say, I am not God. Because the first just says the truth, and the second follows the path of fallacy. So when you fall into this and understand it, the word spirituality is pointless. It disappears. Because you can't be unspiritual. Spirituality is the journey of the ego, isn't it? The ego for understanding, the following of the falsehood to reveal the truth. But the truth is already there. As I said before, it is everywhere, but it is not always seen. So the ego is the battle, isn't it? The ego is that huge mountain that you must walk up to the top and over the other side. Or you can bypass it and just not see the mountain anymore. Sounds rather ridiculous, doesn't it, from your side, that you could sit and just not see the mountain? But that is the truth. And there are sayings which said this: first I see the mountain, then I see no mountain, then I see a mountain. This is the journey, or a Zen saying, of enlightenment. The ego first sees the mountain, then the realize that there is no mountain. And then living the life of realization means you live in the world, but not of it. And the mountain is there once more. So to connect this to a journey of meditation, there are many which meditate. Of course, a huge amount that do not. Now, what I will describe is not solely as a result of meditation. You can achieve this location, for want of a better word, through other means than meditation. But when you meditate and you come to a point, often described as, I come to the edge of an abyss. A fall, a hole in the ground, a black cavern. And I am wary of stepping into it. Now, this is a test. Have you followed what is true? If the meditator has not understood, they will not take this journey, as they believe it is an experience that they will have when they fall or step or jump into this abyss. It is not an experience. It becomes a state of being. As they step into that black hole, they leave behind what was them to discover who they are. And in essence, you touch that in your exercise. The dropping away of orange to reveal just awareness, looking into nothing, into potential. Initially, this can become very lonely as it's full of potential and nothing to manifest. You see, you want, don't you? At the beginning, you said, I wanted that crossing of the veil to live my life in truth. Would you take this step now? Would you walk into that dark tunnel? To connect, I wish to give you a saying. It's actually a quote. And I pick this quote to appease, well, no, not to appease, to appeal to one or two members that are listening now. And this is a quote from Sri Yukshawa. It is often thought that walking into the monastery to surrender to their life, to the monastic life, that it is a journey full of sorrow. A funeral. But the truth is, it is a funeral for sorrow. Of course, that seems like it is talking about the monastic life. But it is the step into the abyss. Looks like you will be annihilated and fall onto the rocks. But you will fall into your truth and love. And from that moment on, you will leave no footprint. As I said, rather like writing letters on the surface of the water. Nothing is left behind. So come into your truth, not by discovering more experience or chasing flashing lights or money. Come to your spiritual self by revealing what is there. Notice that every experience comes out of the conscious awareness. You create your life. You create the happiness and you create the misery. All energy is given to all people equally. All love is sent to all people equally. From the wretched to the great. The connection of spiritual love is there in equal measure. You may be the poorest of the poor or the richest of the rich, be that in money or in happiness. And you are still loved. Now that love comes from one part of the Holy Trinity. Now I use a phrase which has been used before and explained a little. The Holy Trinity, sometimes called Sat Chit Ananda, truth, consciousness, bliss. Sometimes truth is changed to the word being, consciousness, bliss. Now the Holy Trinity, because we're talking about God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Of course, we can change it into other denominations, the names. But the word Holy Spirit is the purveyor of life. With that life comes bliss and love. The love that you experience in your life and experience in the touch of spirit is the Holy Spirit in this case. If you change this to Buddhism, it is the relationship of Sangha, of spiritual community. When two or more are gathered in my name, I will be there. So the Holy Spirit, if you want that word, brings the love to all and causes all action in the world. That love flows through the mind and then is dispersed or diluted or diffracted. And what comes into the world or seen in the world is the diffraction of love. So if you have a mind full of torture, the love will come out as an expression of that. If you have a mind full of peace, then love will flow more purely through that nothingness, and love will become more visible as love. And your job is to see that all as an experience. I just experienced that love in the world. I experienced that torture, that pain. And you just watch it. Now, the love I talk about is not in its simplistic, romantic love. But is a depth that pulls the other towards you. So if love can pull another to you, then love must also connect you to God. As above, so below. So this is why your heart must be open. But if you go into your meditation state, and if you step off that cliff into the abyss with your heart open, then even God cannot escape the magnetism of love. And why would God do that if he could? So you see, this talk, although it is perhaps, if you wish, titled Going Deeper in Meditation, or Discovering Spirit for Yourself, is really about being your truth. Yes, we can lower the depth of this conversation and say, well, you'll be born again and spirit world is like this or that. Lots of joy, lots of colors, lots of relatives and lots of understanding. But that too is a journey through the mind which goes on after the death of the body. A journey that you will take. But the depth, sometimes described as level 7 in the spirit world, whatever that is supposed to mean, is the journey that I describe here to you. A journey that is available to you in your life now, right now. Or you can wait 1,000 years if you wish. You must cross that threshold at some stage. It is not a journey of choice, it's a journey of necessity. You have no choice but to walk the path. But you can hold it back for as long as you want. Now, the love of spirit does not stick to the mountain tops of pride, but rolls down the hill very easily into the valleys of humility. Perhaps you can see the heart in action in both those situations. What heart is there on the mountain top of pride? And how much heart is there in the valley of humility? With pride, you struggle uphill to look, to achieve, to go further, to have an experience. In the valleys, there is acceptance. So you may follow in your life your journeys of mediumship, wealth, fame, money, romance. But remember, what you see is an expression of love. All action is dilution of love. You are the experiencer of what you see. You are the looker to the orange. There is deeper to find out, but superficially this example will do the job quite nicely. How much love do you want in your life? It is in front of you. Whatever you answered, it is there at the end of your nose and deep within your being. It seems like a rather nice position to end, doesn't it? So we come to our conclusion. So I ask you, if you wish, to sit in your silence, to look at your orange, and to take away the only thing that you have, the orange, and realize that you are beyond all experience. Surrender into that abyss. And as Yaktsuwa said, go to the funeral of your sorrow. God bless you all. Until next week.